You. G'day guys, we are back again on this lovely, lovely dog. This is Oreo, if you've missed it before. We've come an amazingly long way with Oreo, and it's getting to a stage where I'm starting to really fall in love with it. Obviously I'm in love with most of the stages that happen, but when I say falling in love with it, I mean getting to a point where I'm in love with what we've got too much to continue to add more layers. So we're getting close to the point, we're not there yet. I'm under the shelter here because it's literally raining outside right now. So we're just gonna be under this little veranda. If I get a little bit cold, I might grab a coat. At the moment, the cool air is kind of refreshing. Hey Gregory. And we're just gonna play around with some color. The only real thing I want to achieve today, of course we're gonna add paint everywhere, but the only real singular goal I have is just this mouth in here. So there's white and pastel pink in this area, and it hasn't been added because we haven't touched those colors as of yet. So that's fine, but it wants a little bit of love. So that's where we're at. And new tray in here, dip it down low. I think we'll just kick off straight away with it. It'll be the difference between this dog looking a little bit, if you look at this dog here, beautiful companion, but just a wee bit stoic. Now, once we put the mouth in there, it'll have that open, eager, loving, joyful expression to it. So that's what we're after. I wanna soak up the sun. Can't tell anyone you humped and down. Don't tell anyone. That can go down there. I think we'll just kick off with those three colors, and then we'll continue to migrate out into more. Ian, welcome here from Indonesia. Kawai, favorite kind of fish to eat. G'day, David. How do, Seb? Seb do well. And I think I do remember you, Ian. Thanks for joining on in. Right, mouth. Mouth. Here we go. So straight into that darker white, leaning on pink, pastel it up. It's got a very, very cheeky tone to it. That's what I want in the dog's mouth. Let me just see if I can get it into the right place here. Just through here. You're gonna have to excuse the loud traffic that comes along. It's for some reason motorbikes are popular around here. I can't stand them. I'm not really a motorbike guy. I'm more big on safety, which is how cool I am. The stability of a car. And you'd be like, what is your theory of chaos when it comes to motorbikes? Nah, chaos in a safe environment. That's what I want. All right. I wanna soak up the sun. Won't tell anyone to die deep. Is that all right? Yeah, there we go. Oh, is that? I think I angled it too much for you folks. There we go, that's about right. Dun, 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 dun. Ooh, ooh. Don't tell anyone. I wanna soak up the sun. Won't tell anyone. Here we go. Mm-hmm. A little cup of hot chocolate to see me through. I Wanna soak up the sun. Can't tell anyone to hide it down. Boom, dun, 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 dun. Two guesses on what song stuck in my head. Cheers, David, and hey, Yaku, welcome on in. We're painting Oreo. Is that a Pokemon mug? You bet it is. My lovely, lovely Pokemon mug. My favorite mug. Well, one of my favorite mugs. I have been graced with a few beautiful mugs in my time, and I'm very, very lucky for that. And I wanna soak up the sun. Howdy. Fantastic. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
All
all good?
good.
Yeah, little girl.
That's the one. Thank you.
No worries.
Appreciate you, mate.
Yeah, all good.
It's stuck in yours now. The mug. Interesting. Yum, yum. Here we go. Beautiful. Slash around some paint here. Where else are we gonna go? Has a sort of left-facing triangle effect in a lot of these spots. So I'm gonna capture those. I just want this dog to, I know I've said this already, but that abundant joy of a dog. And that comes from a kaleidoscope of colours. Hey Jay, how are we doing? Ooh, the song. Yes. Sorry, I forgot all about it, Laura. But yes, that song there, it penetrates. It's the sort of thing that once it's in you, I just have to go to YouTube and play it. And if you haven't seen it, Laura, go watch on YouTube the video clip for it, because it's about, it's like saturated yellow, happiness. She's so happy. She's well, soaking up the sun. It's just great. It's pretty special. So if you are gonna chuck it on YouTube, I know a lot of people are doing things via Spotify now, but if you are checking up on YouTube, sometimes those old school videos have the most amazing video clips. We're so used to video clips, like, I think we're so used to video clips being quite out there, you know, to try and capture your attention. They're intense, like they're weird, they're this, they're that. But actually, those old school ones like Soak Up the Sun, it's just happy-go-lucky. Let's make a fun video clip that just reflects the song. You know, it doesn't try to be something new. It adds a visual element to this beautiful song. She's just got a guitar. She's hanging around the car, going surfing, going down to the beach. Everything you'd expect about soaking up the sun. And thank you very much, Jay. I appreciate that. Big news, exciting news. And bear with me here, because the sun's gone down, or going down, and I'm using a light this time to highlight the artwork and allow myself to paint. If it becomes too difficult, I may have to consider a second light, maybe one over here, so that way when I stand in front of the artwork, my shadow doesn't cast. But if we can get away with one, that's primo. I can't guarantee we can, but we'll give it our best go. Alex, how am I doing? Alex, I am absolutely, positively fantastic. It's fantastic to be here. It's an absolute pleasure of a painting to be making. It's a brisk evening, so it's I actually kind of like it. I've been inside with the baby all day, which has had the heat, and so it's nice to get that sort of cool air on my body. The baby's too young to have that, but for me, oh, it's nice, that biting cold, like genuinely. Not for too long, so if it gets too cold, I'll chuck on a jacket. But right now, Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Sorry. I want to soak up the sun. Can't tell anyone to how to do. I want to soak up the sun. Can't tell anyone to la-dee-da. Don't. I wanna soak up the sun. Can't tell anyone. Don't. Waylon, absolutely fantastic. Welcome on in. Waylon, this is a dog called Oreo. You may have seen him on the previous streams. Oreo is Justin's companion, and Oreo does everything you'd want a dog to do. In that, hello from Colombia, welcome on in. Oreo does everything that you'd want a dog to do. In that one line Justin said of, Oreo makes me a better person, or has made me a better person. I think that's why we don't adopt. I think if you love a dog, you are I think it makes, on a fundamental level, owning a dog improves who you are and improves your quality of life. And Oreo's done that for Justin. And I'm not saying an animal or another life form serves only one purpose, but that is one thing that a dog always brings to the table, just like chili always brings spice. A dog always brings an improvement of life, you know. Yeah. Here we are. Okay. So if you missed at the start, we're just adding some pinks in. Some soft pinks. Not too many, just enough to enhance the colours in that background. There we go. Beautiful. Beautiful. I'm just going to grab myself. Hey Lillian, how are we doing? Ah, yes. We talked about the husky. Yes, Waylon. I'm just going to grab myself a refill of this water bottle, and I'll be back in 1 second, guys. 1 second. She is a very, very nice girl. Now go up there and fight up with us. Here we're trying. I was like, I don't. I'm back. Sorry, guys. Decided to swap the big unit for a small unit. The one fun thing I'll say about painting at night as opposed to during the day is at night you can rely on the paints not drying as fast. They stay wet and open for much longer. Now, that in itself is not a reason to pursue night, but in the changing of lights, that's a fun touch point that nighttime gets over day. Because the sun, the heat from the sun, changes things so rapidly fast. So you have to work much faster. That's not a bad thing, but you'll typically find when it's a darker stream, like right now, I've got a light up, that's where the light's coming from, but when it's nighttime here, we'll slow down. We won't be painting as rapidly, but in the day, in the heat, the fact that the paint is actively drying, the fact that the paint is actively drying, we have to go fast. So there's that change, a swap. And hello from Peru, welcome on in. Mitro, welcome. I'm gonna make sure I don't trip up over this cord here. Let's move that to the side there a little bit, there we go. And Jim, welcome on in. Thank you very much, Jim, I appreciate that. It's been a really big week, and the amount of love, I wasn't expecting I was expecting congratulations, but the sheer amount of love that's come in from the family and friends and community has been really, really overwhelming in a beautiful, good way, in a heartwarming. It's been great. It's just been great. Every single one of you that's messaged, that's commented, it's just, she's a wonderful little girl. She's incredibly healthy, and I can't wait. In the next few years coming, she'll grow and she'll grow, and I hope one day soon I'll be able to have a little, I don't want to say painting assistant, let's say a little apprentice. And look, she may like rugby or soccer or NFL or anything like that, but if she likes painting, I'll show her a few things, so I can't wait. Oh, Nicholas, I would say, and Loki, yes, we're closing in on the final layers. Probably 2 or 3 more, but we'll see how we go. Why is it so noisy? Are you on a street? Let me see if I can fix that for you. Did that help, CK Blue? And sorry, going back to there, how's dad life? So, yeah, baby reveal. One day. At the moment, baby and mum want to stay out of the spotlight, but I will say, don't listen to anyone. I mean, every baby's different, obviously, and everyone's journey's different, but I will say this. Raising the next generation, or raising a child, or having something like that in your life, it's the greatest feeling ever. If you feel like kids are right for you and you're able to have kids, then trust me, it's the greatest adventure you could ever go on. It's just the best. People say, oh, good luck, you're gonna lose sleep, goodbye to your sleep, goodbye to your freedom. Like, these are small things. Even if you do give those up, they're small things to give up for what you get in return, for the love and fulfillment that you get. It's like if Jim was throwing a party and Jim's throwing a party and Dave says to me, don't go to Jim's party, you'll have to take your shoes off at the door. Oh, all right, then I'm not gonna go. Like, what an outrageous stance to take. Of course you're gonna go. It's the most mild inconvenience for the amount of fun you're about to have. So, absolutely. I can't quite pronounce that name. Josko Droban. Or, rather than teach you something, I hope you get a little bit of pleasure from being here. That would be a win. And cheers, Zeet. Congrats from Canada. You know, I actually just recently, I think the work I shipped right before I became a dad went to Canada. So that's pretty fun. That's pretty fun. I wanna soak up the sun. Won't tell anyone. Do da dee da. Won't tell anyone. I wanna soak up the sun. But I won't talk too much on it, guys, because noisy car. Because although if you get me started on it, talking about kids and that whole process, I won't stop. And so I try not to start. But honestly, life-changing in the best kind of ways. Life-changing. Like, there is, in terms of creative process, there's pre-baby and after baby. If you ever wondered where paint should go on a board, how to make art happen, it just, your whole philosophy, I don't want to say changes, but I want to say supercharges. It feels so natural and right. I think, and I've never wanted to pursue painting more than right now, because I want to bring a daughter up in a world where I show her that she can be whatever she wants to be. Not that, how to say that? What I mean by that is, I think it's important for for your child to see her parents pursuing their dreams, and that will unconsciously or subtly give her the permission to do the same. So that's where I sit with that. Small price to pay for an incredible journey we'll be giving. Thank you very much, Johnny. You know, Johnny, I always appreciate you leaping in here. And for those who don't know, Johnny actually owns one of the first pieces of Johnny, was it 2021 or 2022? I think you own, I think we were working on that piece either late 2021 or early 2022. It's a fantastic, colourful piece with a very unique metal frame, very special. And greeting, oh, thanks, Lewis. Yeah, no, I know it's Ian, Johnny. I'm just wondering, when was the, because now I'm getting the years blurred between 21 and 22. There's this amazing picture of Ian, Sir Ian, and it's got this amazing pink background, and it's like, it's one of those works that's not perfect impressionism. It's a mixture of a character, so there's realism to it. There's impressionism in the painterly style of the strokes, and then there's this expressionism, because there's this slight deviation from reality as the face sort of morphs in the way it's painted. Not as intense as like a picture like The Scream, but just slightly. It's a really fun picture. I never actually, funny thing, Johnny, I never got a photo of it, but that's the sort of, I mean, I've got photos of it. I never got a really high resolution scan of it. And the only reason why you'd want that is when you want to look back on it and see those up close paint strokes and the little moments inside of it. Sometimes you remember the nose, the a little part of the top left of the head, some little pockets within it, and you can't quite appreciate it from a distant picture. You need to see it right up close and go, ah, I remember how those little paint strokes landed, how they all felt, how that came together. Oh, fantastic. I mean, not fantastic it's in storage, but fantastic congratulations for your sister for rebuilding. I hope it was, I hope she's enjoying that process. Those can be something that can be something magical or quite intense. So I hope it's the magical side. You'd quite know. First off, I would love that. That would be fantastic. And TBS TDCA. I'm glad. I'm very glad. The reason why this whole process gets shared live is because deep down I believe that art can be quite a I think it can be a lonely venture, but I don't believe it needs to be. I think the actual creation of art can be shared in a way that both the artist and the viewer can get something out of it. And in this moment here, the fact that we can be here with, how many of us? I see 38, 32, 36 of us in the room. We can share this little moment together and make some art. And you don't know what anyone else is going through, whether they're at home with a baby, whether they're in bed because they're sick, whether they've finished a long day of work and they're just scrolling on their phone before falling asleep in Chicago, or waking up in the morning before they head out to work and they're just having their final little coffee and looking at their phone on their way to Illinois. But the fact that there's so many people on the face of the earth, one thing that's that I believe is the case is, even though there's so many people, I don't think that the world's ever been lonelier. And I think that social media, even though it's got an ugly underbelly, is giving us the opportunity to connect and meaningfully connect more than ever before. I really do believe that. So, but one thing I don't like, not that it matters what I do and don't like, but one thing I don't like is that I feel like in the last few years there's been this line drawn between content or consumer and creator, as if there's these creators who know some mystical code of how to make content to put online, and then your job, if you're not a creator, is to consume content and be quiet. And if that becomes the status quo, then that would be, in my mind, the death of social media. Because when I joined social media, my first thing was a Bebo account. And if you've been there in the early days of like 2010, 2008-ish, you might remember Bebo, which was everyone had a profile. And with Facebook, I don't want to give Facebook a hard time because I love Facebook, but it's less personalized. And you remember you'd have a Bebo account with a personal skin that would go on it. You'd have some love there, you'd have some friends, you'd have your top friends, which I don't like popularity contests, but you could do that. And the beautiful thing about that is it wasn't about, oh, you're a popular person or you're a creator, have a Bebo. It was everyone has a Bebo and everyone's part of the conversation. I think that's really important. And so anyway, to finish that topic off, the moment social media becomes something with only creators and consumers, it's just another marketplace, and meaningful connection will leave. But as long as there's still pockets where it actually feels real, where people can connect and where people can actually, and you'll, how to explain it, you'll know that that's the case if it feels meaningful. If after being in a chat room you feel less lonely, or if after being part of something you feel fulfilled, you don't feel less lonely or fulfilled when you watch reel after reel doom scrolling at 1 a.m. in the morning. But if you're part of a live session, if you're part of a live chat room, if you're part of a discussion, I think that changes things. I think you actually do nourish your humanity in those moments. There's so much pressure now on Facebook to keep pushing you to create, lol. A little bit, but I also feel like that's not all the whole picture. I feel like actually as well, And maybe I'm wrong, every platform opened up a live feature, and I put 95% of my effort into live. If you've watched my reels, it's just like there's spelling mistakes, there's like the footage slips sometimes, the cuts aren't perfect. Like, I do it because it's fun. Like, honestly, if it wasn't fun to make these sort of funky dance reels as I'm making the art, I wouldn't do it. But I feel like live is where we really connect. There's sometimes in the comment section of reels where I have great conversations, and I really feel like one-on-one we make ground and we build connections. But the idea of hunting for views and likes is so dystopian. It's ugly, it's strange. But I lost my trail of thought there. I think I got to the end of that thought though, but maybe. Anyway, to not close it off, it feels like live is something that helps us. And so I think that is where things are going. I think things like TikTok, I love that there's a million videos on TikTok. I'm sure a lot of people get amazing stuff out of them. I think TikTok really comes into its own in little pockets like this. I like watching people. There's a couple of people, a guy who makes hats, another guy who does wood carving, and I love watching, and it's going to sound a little bit weird, I love watching tradies who are doing buildings and plumbing and electrical work, because I'm never going to build a house, most likely. I'm never going to do electrical work, or it was a mozzie, or do pipes, maybe. But I love actually watching them describe what they're doing and taking me on the process, so I can see how these things are done and I can enjoy it. And I think live gives us amazing opportunity for you to actually join the lives of others for a brief moment. And in that pocket, feel what it's like to be that person. And I kind of feel like that's a beautiful matchup, because that's what art is. You look at Van Gogh's work, and for a brief moment you can feel what Van Gogh thought was beautiful, and you don't look at Starry Starry Night and surmise a new conclusion every time. You look at Starry Starry Night, and for a brief moment you feel the beauty that Van Gogh saw on that night, and you connect with him on that. And I think that's really special. And you know what? That's entirely fair enough. Look, I'm sorry for stressing you out for wearing white, and I can't guarantee it won't happen again. In fact, I can guarantee it will happen again. And hey, Santiago, always follow the United States. Connections to you. I don't fully understand what you're saying there, Z, but I think I agree. Now let's grab some French aquamarine. We're not going to go into the yellows this time. We explored them before, yesterday. And now's the time to actually dive into those blues, pinks, and white tones. Tomorrow will be the last day that we come in with more greens, to actually have the greens underneath, the greens on top. So since this needs a green pigment to it, think of it like a sandwich. You know how people used to say compliment sandwiches? Where you'd be like, compliment, negativity, compliment. That's similar to this painting. Not that at all, but you have green layers, all the other colors, more green layers. So it has an overall green feeling, but it has a kaleidoscope of pigments. That's what we're doing here. That's what we're doing. Hey, that's what we're doing. After this too. Hey Trina, and thank you so much. I appreciate that. There's a pretty special painting, Trina. This is it is a commission. It's by a man named Justin. And Justin was so kind. Justin gave me a lot of details on a special companion in his life called Oreo. And, you know, sometimes I do commissions and it's fantastic. But to get that extra layer of detail is really special. I say extra layer of detail, I mean, I'd like even more, but it's amazing to get a few paragraphs to understand what Oreo means to Justin and to be able to be here capturing Oreo. So Oreo in this picture here is 1 month old. I know if you've been here before, I've said this before, I'm so sorry, but Oreo's 1 month old in this picture. And that's quite fun to know because, you know, young dogs, they're kind of like young humans in that there's this spark and this vibrancy and this excitement and zest for life. And we want to capture that in Oreo's eyes. So on the reflection part, there'll be pure titanium white in both Oreo's eyes, as opposed to the rest of the work, which will be this explosion of color, meaning that the most pure part is where Oreo sees from, giving this pure intention very subtly, but through those eyes. And then there's another thing as well, this hope factor. And the hope factor I want to add in comes from the fact that Oreo is a rescue dog. So he was from Singapore originally, and he was rescued by Justin. So the fact that the colors actually have this uplifting, hopeful tone to them, we want to add that into it as well. And then all the colors, well, first off, that's my style. I love a million colors in the work. But second off is, let's add that in there. If you've ever heard the term go on a colorful journey, Oreo and Justin, there is no doubt that those two have been on a colorful journey. When you hear about all the trials and tribulations and you don't want to say, you want to say challenges and loving moments and beautiful moments that they've been through together, that's where all this color comes from. Because all the things you go through with someone you really care about, in this case, Justin to Oreo, all those things, there's no such thing as a color that doesn't belong. It's all part of the journey that you went on together. And so that's kind of why I wanted to use so many colors, as I do in most of the works, but in this particular one, because if I do all the colors, it means, or it captures the fact that every little moment and every little thing that Oreo and Justin have been through is all meaningful in the end product. This painting wouldn't be correct if I'd only used 3 colors or it had been monochrome. We would miss what really mattered about Oreo. And more importantly, and I haven't said this yet, but this is important, what matters most is about Oreo and Oreo's connection to Justin. So in a certain way, are we just capturing Oreo? Yes, this is a portrait of Oreo. But that thread connecting Oreo to Justin, that is, it's augmented into the painting. It's the reason the painting exists, and it's the inspiration behind the color palette, the compositional choices, and the overall, to choose a youthful word that I don't fully understand, vibe of the painting. That's why we're here. All right, I've got to read this out. You're capturing Oreo's very being. We want to, we want to capture that element of Oreo if we can. If we can capture a fragment of real identity, then we're on exactly the right track. And if we get more, then that's beautiful as well. But I love how paint can do that. Anyway, sorry, I can get caught on that vein too, but I'll try and relax. And you may be the most amazing painter of all time. In fact, I can almost guarantee that inside everyone is an incredible creative. Maybe not with paint, but to think that actually people are good at hedge funds, plumbing, surfing, biking, painting, drawing, green fingers, being able to raise plants, and that maybe you have no inherent talent is the most outrageous, invalid, ridiculous thought I've ever heard. And the amount of people I talk to who say, I have no talent. And then the more I talk to them, suddenly I find out that they go home and they are an absolute wizard at Excel. If you play with Microsoft Excel, you'll know what I'm talking about. I don't believe in magic, but I've seen some Excel documents that make me believe magic exists with their ability to actually, oh my God, a beautiful Excel document is beautiful. I've seen some really complex ones, and better than a complex Excel document is one that's not built on like sticks. When I say that, I mean, you can build almost anything in Excel and it becomes a sprawling, giant, chaotic, uncontrollable mess. And so when it breaks, it's actually a whole bunch of things breaking almost simultaneously, and they all need to be fixed and made correct. But if it's built beautifully, the succinct, streamlined, beautiful Excel sheet that actually you can go into and my brother's great at Excel, and so he would develop different sheets for me back when I was working a different job, and I think I gave way that you can see I get a little bit passionate about Excel, but if you've ever worked with Excel, you will understand that passion. When you get a good Excel sheet put in front of you, it is palpable. It is exciting. Now hold on. Thanks, Tina. I appreciate that. There is nothing. I mean, I shouldn't say that because I just had a daughter that absolutely changed my life and is the best journey I'm ever going on. Now let me use a hyperbole. There is nothing more exciting than a beautiful, streamlined, perfect Excel sheet. And there is nothing more frustrating than a bad one. Now, ooh, you little punk. Look at the size of that mosquito. He was just biting me. All right, guys, I'm gonna get some mozzie repellent because those are 2 big mozzie bites, and I'm gonna come on back. One moment, guys. So those are the 2 biggest mosquitoes I've ever seen around this house before. I wasn't wearing that. Those are the 2 biggest mosquitoes I've ever seen around this house before. And they both bit me in the same place, right in the middle of each foot. Well, while we've got the camera centered like this, I should confess I'm just running around barefoot. I like standing outside barefoot, but because of how strange this world is, I can't be in the the camera's going to be centered like this, because one time I was wearing jandals and doing a stream, and it got pulled down because too many people got excited that I was wearing jandals in the stream. This is the world we live in. Right. Here we go. This is the world that we live in. This is the world that we live in. There we go. Splash this around through here. Okay, golly gosh, my feet are itchy. Golly McGosh. I'll manage. But if I complain 15 or 16 more times, just know that I warned you. Little mosquitoes, how could they? Jandals are thongs. I actually left them inside now. They're those, I don't know how to explain them. They're bases that have little straps that go over sandals. They go on your feet. You'll have a term for them. Everyone has some sort of a term for them. Australians call them thongs. Kiwis call them jandals. I honestly think the Australian term's more fun, but the Kiwi term's all right too. This is good though. That itch they've given me is actually making me paint a little bit more wild and faster, because I was getting a little bit lethargic in those corners. So this is good. This is very good. Love is lit. Live is lit. Live, you are lit. And I appreciate you being here, because this live only exists to, well, what does this live exist for? I still haven't quite figured that out, but I do remember I was painting day after day through the middle of the night from about 10 p.m. till 4 a.m. for months and months and months, and I only had so many surfaces. It was in a restaurant storage shed, and I only had so many surfaces, so what I would do is at the end of a night, some nights, I'd paint them all white again, and then I'd start painting them again, because it was never about creating art to sell, or, you know, oh, look at this wonderful masterpiece, keep it, and don't, nah. Art's not about that. That's not what the cavemen in Turkey, when they made those animal drawings on the wall of that cave, were thinking about, you know, let's make a masterpiece that we can sell. They did it inside a cave. Who's going to buy that? It wasn't about that. And in the same way, I just wanted to paint. I wanted to enjoy colour. I wanted to splash around different tones and just enjoy myself. So there's hundreds of works, maybe around the 700 mark, pictures that have been erased, or they exist under works. Like a work might be in Chicago. I know there's one work in New York in a private home, and if they ever got it and cut through it, they would find 7 to 8 completed works underneath the surface, and yet they've got one singular work. The work's called Expression. It was this beautiful picture of a man with a surprise on his face, but underneath Expression is 7 other paintings. So that's pretty special. Pretty special. Yeah, but I don't know what compelled me to turn on the camera and actually share the live with other people. But I think honestly, if anything, if I was to whittle it down to one thing, after doing it for hundreds of hours, several hundred hours, probably pushing over 1,000 hours just in this restaurant storage shed, just painting, I think I got lonely. I think that's what I put it down to. And one of my initial people who was joining me on the live, his name was Zach, incredible guy. It was on Reddit. Sometimes you'll see someone jump in the comment section and be like, bro, I remember you from Reddit. So Reddit, you could go live on there. And I used to play music. Didn't used to talk all that much. I didn't think any thought I had was relevant or could help someone else or needed to be heard. And that opinion's changed a little bit to me believing that everyone, everywhere, needs to be heard in some small, unique or different way. But I'd play music. I had a cool playlist. Such a funky playlist. I love that playlist. And I just paint. The longest stream was about 14 hours. I remember one time I looked back at the device. It was a laptop that was, I had a laptop and a cord that linked it to a GoPro that I filmed with that was on a side angle that would, like, for anyone, if anyone remembers it, it was a GoPro on its side that was going off every 30 minutes. So every 30 minutes the screen would go black and I'd need to come up and push it again to start it and to keep it filming. It was very funny. And we made some incredible art. We had some incredible fun and we shared some fun moments. But during that process, I should say, what happened was, hold on. Jimmy paints his head, moving outside. Yeah, perfect. Okay. During that process, at one point, because it would feature it in places, I looked back at the screen of the laptop and there were 23, 24, 25, I think it happened a few times, at 24,000 people watching. And I panicked and I froze and I was just smiling, going backwards and forwards. I didn't know what to do. I couldn't speak. I couldn't interact. I just froze. And we've come a wee way since then, but I didn't realize art could have a profound impact on the lives of others. And over a period of about 13 months, I realized otherwise. And once I'd realized that, there was this vigor to try and have an impact through art, to try and help people, invigorate people, spread joy and vitality. And that's where all that came from. And yes, sorry, Liv, the playlist. So it's tucked away, but you can find it. If you go to the link in my bio, there is a Spotify playlist if you scroll down. So click the link, scroll down, it says, like, I feel like painting Seb Gower. Now that's the recent playlist. That's the playlist I use to drum myself up, to get in the mood to make art. But if you want the old school playlist, and I mean the late night burn the oil playlist, the one I used to play when I was first making art first making art publicly in a restaurant storage shed, you need to go into that playlist, go to Sebastian Gower in Spotify, and then it's called, I think it's called Art Flow. It's Art Flow or Painting Flow. The word flow is in it, F-L-O-W. And that playlist they will always hold a special place in my heart. I don't edit that playlist, so that playlist will never change because it has a special place. And sometimes I do go back to it and I listen to it because you can't always charge forward onto the next idea. Sometimes you need to be reminded of where you've been and where you came from in order to move forward in the most effective manner. And that playlist does that for me. So I hope Spotify always keeps things like that available, because that playlist does mean the world to me. As does I Feel Like Art. That's why that one's now available on that platform. But if it helps you, I would absolutely love for you to reach out and let me know. Tell me how you're using the playlist. Tell me how it supports your craft. Just anywhere. Emails is a cool place to reach out, or you can reach out via social media, like on the DMs, whatever suits you best. But the playlist really helped me. And you know what? I'm going to be completely honest, guys. I can't take full credit for making it, because the playlist was made by my best friend, who every day he went to work, he'd catch a tram, and on the tram, he'd slowly, meticulously build this playlist. And when I heard it, I said, that is the exact same playlist I want to create too. I've never been able to build a playlist as good as that, and never will again. Some people can do it, and some people can't do it. And it was interesting because that playlist married perfectly with my craft at the time. Hey, Mountain Sky, I'm glad you do. And Hickey, yeah, go for gold. It's, like I say, it's Spotify's playlist, so it's on Spotify. I don't get anything from you using the playlist, obviously, but if you do get something out of it, I get the satisfaction that not only did the playlist provide for me, it provided for you. So I'd get a kick knowing that the thing that helped me burn the midnight oil all those years ago now helps you to pursue your craft. And like I say, guys, it's not I should say this, if you follow that playlist, don't expect me to build it. Like I say, that playlist is never going to change. The way it is a capturing of a moment. So, and if you like it, please, 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 please do one thing. Don't listen to it. And that sounds like a really weird thing to say, but that playlist, if you're like me and it works for you, save that playlist and only listen to it when you really need that invigorating kick, that bring me up, that encourage me and empower me to be creative. If you listen to it all the time, the words, the songs, the power behind it, it'll lose its potency. You don't want it to lose that potency. You want it to be so potent that when you need it, pow, it changes your craft. So if that playlist resonates with you, perfect. Put it in your toolbox, and when you get a creative block, and I don't mean just for a painter, a creative block in woodwork, in interior design, in building, I don't know what it is that you do, in an Excel spreadsheet, if you feel that creative block, then bring in that playlist from your toolbox that works and initiate it. And trust me, it works for me every time. It's one of my favorite tricks. I love that playlist. Anyway, enough on that. Flower paintings more than the portraits. My friend in New York City bought one. Bought a flower painting off me. If they have, it was over a year ago. I haven't shipped a flower painting to New York in the last 300 days. Oh, have I? Hold on. Before I say something stupid, let me just remember. Have I shipped a flower painting to New York? I've made a few flower paintings recently, and the reasoning behind that was I wanted to make my daughter's room beautiful, vibrant, and colourful. But I don't think I've shipped a flower painting to New York recently. Have I? Oh God. Speaking of though, I should say this, we've got a flower painting coming up very soon. It's a dahlia. It's a dahlia. And I'm really, really excited. So I can't tell you who it's for because, not that I don't want you guys to know, but I'm afraid that someone might get too excited and ruin the surprise for who it is for. So, but it's going to be a really, really special piece. So the one annoying thing for you guys is if you're going to be a part of that journey with me making this flower painting, I can't tell you the importance of it until it's finished. And I know that sounds really weird, so I know it's weird, I know it's cryptic. I sound like The Rock talking to Kevin Hart. Are you in or are you out? That's kind of what this painting's like. And honestly, it's gonna be an amazing painting though. Dahlia, big dahlia up close, massive, big, expressive, on a large square canvas. I've got it over there already. Large square canvas, massive painting. I've already made the frame. I'm so stupidly ahead. I just haven't made the painting yet, which is hilarious. But I know what I need. Now this is a very dangerous place to be in. There we go. That's a really dangerous place to be in because if I know the frame I want and I know what I want and I know where it's going, what happens? That sounds a lot like I'm choking the process and I'm going to stop that painting from being everything it could be. So I need to be really, really careful that actually, even though I've selected the frame, the client, the home, the subject matter, that I still allow the painting to change chaotically, to be whatever it can be, and to go on its own special little journey, wherever that might take it. And sometimes it's not where you expect. It's in all sorts of weird and wily directions. So we're willing to accept that that's the case. And that's so important, to be able to accept that actually maybe where you think it needs to go, even as the artist, isn't the best place for it to go. Maybe you're the artist, but you don't actually know best. Have you considered that? A lot of the time, you put these artists on these high horses, and the worst thing that can happen, you can put an artist on a high horse, but the moment you, as the artist, put yourself on a high horse, you will disregard every bit of chaos, every new idea, and everything else, thinking whatever's already here is better, and it's not. Everything in here is only great in the way it communicates with the rest of the world. If I didn't have the wind and the sun and the collectors with their changing ideas and the different manners and states of minds that I approach the art with, sleep deprivation, excitement, too many coffees, not enough coffees, music, no music, loving, excited, happy, hopeful, joyful. If I didn't approach the art in all these different ways and have the world changing around me in different ways, and then reacting to it, the art would have nothing. It would have no flavour. It would be like, I don't mean to make fun of a hospital right now, but hospital food. If you've ever been to a hospital and through a public health system, how bland it is. That's what my art would become. And the idea of that terrifies me. So when the wind's strong and it's blowing the canvas, and when I'm tired or scared or emotional or battling in all the kind of different ways that you can, I remember that actually those are the moments that build the art, that change it. And the art's not special without those moments. I know that sounds cheesy, but please, guys, please know that it's true. The only artist, I think, that's worth watching is usually an artist that's constantly changing. I see some artists fall into these cracks of finding a craft that works. The most dangerous thing is a craft that sells, and then they go, right, this is me, stop, and they become this robot of just making the same thing over and over. But to be able to be in a constant state of flux, and great examples of that in history, Monet, Van Gogh, Picasso. Picasso went so far as to invent a movement. Oh my God. Guys, this is hilarious. And yes, Abby, thank you very much. The baby's here. She's beautiful. I'm a father. I couldn't be more excited. It's the most special thing I've ever done in my life. I am so excited. But before I lose this trail of thought, you're welcome to the world. Painting was my son. Hey, you're welcome to the world. Painting was my son. I don't quite understand the grammar there, but it sounds like your son's a painter, and that's so special. Yes, Seat. So there's probably most of the artwork goes to New York City. Second being Chicago. No, it'd be a second way tie between Chicago and Washington, D.C. But sorry, going back. I had a dream the other night, and only now we're talking have I been reminded of the dream. This is going to be outrageous. I'm so sorry. So, I had a dream that I met Picasso. And Picasso didn't like my art. And anyway, I was really put out that Picasso didn't like my art. And I thought, oh my God, it's awful. I'm awful. I'm a problem. And I had this whole thing. Anyway, the dream goes on. The dream continues on. And guys, you know what? I don't like Cubism. I don't like it. Picasso started a movement called Cubism. It's when, if you remember, he had these bands that he drew that were all broken into like geometrical shapes, and you could still tell what it was, but it was all disjointed and crazy and blocky, bold colors and shapes that seemed to come together in this very funky kind of way. Anyway, I don't like it. I don't like the style. It doesn't do anything for me. I like wild, chaotic paint, not paint that tries to pretend it's geometry, tries to pretend it's bold, regular shapes. I think there's enough bold, regular shapes in architecture. I think architecture do an amazing job of bold, regular shapes. Look at, is it the Casadilla Familia? Cinegra, whatever it's called, the big amazing church that just got finished. Look at that. That does big, bold shape like no painting ever will, ever in the history of mankind and for the future of it. I love that building. But I don't like Cubism. Now, during this dream, thank you, Santiago, the Sagrada Familia. Now, and surrealism's your favorite. Perfect. That's fantastic. We are finally disagreeing. I love it. It's so aggressive. Perfect, DJ. See, this is what's great. Let me bring you to the conclusion of this dream. Me and Picasso then sat down together and we both agreed. We didn't like each other's work. I don't like Cubism. He didn't like my... He said, you use too much color. You go too primal and raw and crazy. And I said, you're too cubey. You're too... In my dream, I told Picasso he was too cubey. Anyway, we actually then saw each other eye to eye. And that it's actually beautiful we don't. Do you think you could put every artist in a room together and they'd all be like, ooh, we love every piece of art in this room and every artist? Do you think Pollock is getting along with Picasso? Do you think Van Gogh is going to, cheers Alvaro, is going to sit down with Monet? Do you think these artists don't like each other's work or may not like it? They don't have to like it, but if they're able to actually, the most important part of it is being able to respect each other's work. And too cubic, yeah. So I had this realization with artists because I always talk about it from a viewer's perspective, being like, you won't like certain art and you will like other art, and to understand yourself. And it's actually inherently fairly stupid that I tell viewers how they should like and dislike things, and then I never even talked about the artist, and that actually an artist is allowed to inherently not like other artists, because there's actually no difference between a viewer and an artist. We're both human. And so, of course, the artist has preferences, desires, and yeah. Anyway, in my dream, me and Picasso's preferences and desires were very different, but we enjoyed each other, we respected each other, we sat around a table, and although we didn't like each other's work, and I'll be honest, I've never really liked Picasso's work. I loved his blue period, but the other stuff didn't really do it for me. I was able to respect everything he made and who he was, and he was able to do the same for me. And that is the most valuable thing that can happen in art, by a quarter mile. So, long-winded story. Basically, me and Picasso met up. He didn't like my art. I was hurt about it. We met up. I realized I didn't like his art either, but we could have that respect and that mutual appreciation for creativity together. And thanks, Carolyn. I appreciate you. Thank you for bringing this topic up, because it's truly all subjective at the end of the day. It is subjective, but one thing I'll say is that it's got less to do with an airy-fairy. Subjective's kind of like a buzzword. Like, I feel like subjective doesn't feel like it's its own category. I feel like subjective feels like we use it to describe something that's not objective. And to do that is a disservice to subjectivity, if that's actually a word. I think we need to understand that actually art's a matter of taste. I like the word taste because we understand similes and metaphors better when there's an empirical element to it. And if I say, what's your taste in art? That's all that matters. We ask ourselves more questions and understand ourselves better. What do you like in art? What's your taste? Do you like abstract? Do you like texture? I love texture. Do you like sculpture? Do you just hate painting and it just doesn't do anything for you, and actually architecture and interior design and bold, flat, muted colours in a home that come together to create a living space do it for you? That's okay. We're all allowed to have our own taste in creativity. And I feel like that's a better way of saying it, rather than getting caught up on the subjectivity of it. Subjectiveness versus objective art. See, the very fact that objective art doesn't even work. Like, what would be objectively valuable about art? Oh, because it looks real. Cool. All right. So photography is, like, I love photography, but is photography the very best, highest form of art? Like, when we see a photo beside a painting, do we just laugh at the painting and go, ha, you look ridiculous. Look how good that photo is. No, no one does that. So if no one's doing that, we can't possibly say that objectively realism is the best thing. We can't possibly put down a set of criteria to understand art. The premise is completely outrageous. Completely outrageous. But to say that subjectively we can value art, the problem with that is when we say art can only be understood subjectively, that's a way of saying that as a community or as a group of people, we could all fall in the same opinion, which doesn't do service to the viewer. To say subjectively art can be understood is wrong. To say that every person has their own taste and comes to their own conclusions and love what they love, that's correct. I feel like the best way to understand art is to look at it more like relationships and love than to look at it like actual material objects. Love's irrational. Love's wild. Love doesn't need to make sense. sorry, let's say love doesn't need to be logical to make sense. And art's similar to that. You'll look at a picture that's messy, that certain points of it upset you, that for some reason you don't know why the artist made certain decisions, or why it's so chaotic and wild, or why this happened or why that happened, but for some reason you love it and you can't figure it. But, you know, the artwork I love the most is the artwork that has points of it that I don't like, that upset me. You know, why did he put that there? Why did that happen there? But I like the whole work, because for me, there's the elements I love and the elements I don't love. They come together to create this thing that actually emotionally challenges me. And that's the art that I actually connect with the most. I don't want something that just goes, oh, it's pretty, I like it. Or something that goes, oh, it's challenging and makes us comment on society, I like it. Yeah, get rid of both those things. Give me something that both I love, that challenges me, that makes me question certain things, that makes me come back to it over and over again and see new things, that makes me see it in a new light at different times. I know I sound like I'm being greedy, but here we go. Great comment from Tina. I'll get down to it in just a second though. Let me read these first. Then I'll say we're all allowed to have fully formed opinions in our own way despite understandings. Yeah, obviously understand art movements, understand why most people like certain things, understand what makes great art great, but then understand yourself and know that ultimately when it comes to creativity, taste is the most important part. There are some homes that you just simply don't want to live in, and there's some art that you simply don't want in your home, and it's unique to you and only you. And to allow someone else to have their opinion to tell you what's good, to then design your home, your identity, and what will make you happy around that, that's a path to misery. Yes, listen to their opinion, but then ultimately use your own taste. How often do we go to a restaurant and panic order something that everyone else says is good because we think that's going to be what makes us happy? I think a lot of us have enough courage to go to the restaurant and pick the meal we know we'll like the most. Art's no different. Choose what you like the most and actually enjoy it. I think there's sometimes art gets caught up in fads and we love certain artists. I don't think any artist should be universally famous and bigger than any other artist. I think that every artist, that sensationalizing artists is fine, but actually I feel like every artist has a certain group of people that they speak to, that they connect with, that love them and that can see what they're doing. And every artist has their niche. Yeah. To say that one artist can speak to 80%, 90% of people, that hasn't been done since Van Gogh, to be able to see Starry, Starry Night and not get a sermon out of it, but get just a little bit of pleasure. Sorry, coming on down here. Art for me is about creativity in all shapes and forms, and I enjoy all types. Yes, 100%. If you go onto the Collins Dictionary and you look up what art actually means, it will say something about creation and creativity. And I think it even brings in a human aspect to it. I need to check it. It's been a while since I've read the definition of art. But I do remember that the definition of art is not what you'd think it would be. It centers around creation more than creativity, which is interesting. Dun, dun, dun. You just described Johan. I don't know who Johan is. And hey, Cree1, welcome on in. Alright, let me just slash a bit more bits in here. Let me just slash a bit more bits in here. Blues and pinks. Blues and pinks. I'm glad we've had such a fun conversation here too while doing Oreo, because we've gone deep. We've gone deep when we're making Oreo, there's no doubt. I'm no artist either. I just love being creative. I think you've been hard on yourself. I think that art and creativity, though they feel really open, I feel like art and creativity are some of the biggest gatekeepers you'll ever come across, and that sometimes I feel like they're the unsuspecting cool kids in life that actually have such a high buy-in that I feel like artists sometimes take glee from actually creating barriers to not allow you to join. And I think that only comes from a large level of hurt and not feeling part of not feeling included for a long, long time. And so once actually they have made it as an artist, they seek to put up these shields and these and gatekeep from everyone else. And I don't think it's because they're famous. I think it's because after a journey like that, of loneliness, of insecurity and imposter syndrome, when you finally make it, I think what actually happens is that's how they defend themselves and survive. It doesn't need to be like that. If you've got a famous artist that you don't understand inside out, that can't be vulnerable, can't share who they are, how are you ever going to connect with the artwork? How are you ever going to find yourself understanding what they made? We only understand Van Gogh so well, and this is going to sound harsh, but we only understand Van Gogh so well because of the incredible level of passion he had for his work. Because he was so intense on his work that in his final days he cut off his ear, that he sent it in the mail, that he shot himself, that he was so emotionally invested in his life and what he was creating and the way he lived that we can't help but to look at Starry, Starry Night and feel something. Best example I can give you, go and listen to Don McLean's song Starry, Starry Night and understand that any artist who fails to connect with you on the level that Van Gogh's gone to connect with you can never be as or more famous than Van Gogh. They can't be. You can't make a pretty picture and not share your soul and feelings and expect to connect on that same level. You can't. And I think artists are out there just showing us pretty pictures and saying, look at this pretty picture, love me like Van Gogh, and they can't understand why it's not happening. We love Van Gogh because we see those pictures, and in a small way we understand Van Gogh. I love that. I love that. I love 75% of your paintings. That's interesting you say that. I hope the other 25 aren't just like. I hope you despise them. And that's healthy. That's healthy. And because if you liked everything, that would be wrong. I explore a spectrum of styles, and dabble in different ways of making the art. And there's no way that one person could look at the whole spectrum and like everything, even on not a week to week, but a month to month or biannual basis. I hate certain works and love different works. Like a healthy friendship or relationship, there's ups and downs, and that's healthy. DJ's on it. But the one thing I'd say more than anything, is if you don't like something, if something's not gelling with you in particular, what I would say is try and understand why. Why doesn't it gel with you? Why don't you like that? Not because it'll affect that work at all. It'll do nothing for the work. You might never even talk to the artist. But if you understand why you don't like it, you'll better understand yourself. That's powerful, in my mind. Now, I want to rinse this brush off. I'm going to come back with a few greens, and then we'll be done for the day. The greens, I just want to accentuate some deep opaque greens before I come back and splash around some quite transparent layers. So, bear with me. I need to get the blue off the brush though. Blue has to go. All right, we're coming on back. Tina, this has been an interesting live. So happy I came across you. Oh, thanks, Tina. Well, it's an absolute pleasure to have you here. Now, I'm a new dad, so I'm not live all the time, but expect me every 48 hours-ish, and if you don't catch the live, you're all good. If you're a new follower, there are so many replays on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. You can find everything you need. Thanks, Tina. Right, I'm gonna rinse off this brush. Once it's rinsed off, we're coming back, we're slamming around some greens, and then I'm gonna go make a late night dinner. Plan? Plan. Right. See you soon, guys. Can we get there?
Really doesn't fit those nappies, does she?
Right. Imagine all the people. Yeah, I love that. The host will return. He hasn't abandoned us, not completely. Poor old Jay's like, please, people, please, he's coming back. Relax. Right. A few little green tones, team. This painting's looking really cool, though. We're not quite finished yet. I don't want to do too much on the eyes until I have the perfect light of day. I want that sunlight to be able to define the eyes. So you'll be able to see the shape of the dog and the background there. But if the eyes don't look glowing and sparkling, that's because I'm avoiding those right now. I want that sunlight. All right. All right, all right, all right. Titanium white and some more Payne's grey. A fool of his cars would fall and fall hard on the Arabian way. This is funny here, guys. I actually had the bug spray in my toolkit. So what that means is I didn't need to get bitten by the mosquitoes. It was 100% avoidable. Trina, I appreciate that. But like I said, I want to do these greens first. We've only been here for 90 minutes, so we're going to do about another. We're going to do another about 30 minutes, 30 minutes max. And in that 30 minutes, we'll get these greens done. But if it's going to be like the other session, I was like, right, we're leaving. And I stuck around for 45 more minutes. The colours were just landing. It's pretty fun. Arabian Nights, like Arabian days. The fool of his card would fall and fall hard on Arabian ways. The fool of his god would fall and fall hard on Arabian wings. There we go, hello. Beautiful. Splash this around through here. Didn't know you started an hour ago. Asta, you're totally all good. If you do want to capture the whole live, I will be sharing it on plenty of platforms, so you'll be able to find it. Did I really? Honestly, it's the best thing about Aladdin for me, the best thing, is the opening clip with Robin Williams. Robin Williams is an absolute gem. The movies he made, they are cinema, and I want to call them timeless cinema, because me and Shelby went back and watched a whole bunch of them together, and they still made us laugh, made us cry, moved us. They didn't need to be, didn't matter that they were, decades and decades and decades old. They didn't have fancy effects, all these crazy things. So how did they move us? Well, it was authentic, It was like an old piece of artwork. Asta, yes. Of course I am. I had one of the first Game Boy Colors in New Zealand. Well, my brother did. He won a radio station competition. And I remember very vividly when I was a child leaning over his shoulder and watching him play Pokemon Yellow and being fascinated by this little character in the middle of the screen with a little weird thing with a zigzaggy tail following along behind him. And I enjoyed every single minute I watched over his shoulder. I never wanted to play. It was just a joy to watch my brother. Absolute thrill. Ooh. Ooh. Black. You're quite late in the game. Your first Pokemon game was black. How old does that make you? You're a spring chicken. 21. That sounds about right. See, I was I 8 when I first started, and now I'm 31, so time flies. Time flies. Ooh. See, I watched a lot of Dragon Ball Z too, but the problem with Dragon Ball Z is that it was quite slow moving, and we had limited TV time when we were kids, and so since our mum only allowed us to watch a certain amount of TV, if you watch Dragon Ball Z, you'd get less storyline. So we typically leant more towards Pokemon, SWAT Cats, Yu-Gi-Oh, these sorts of things. come up here and have a look-see. Bobo, sorry. Bobo, do I love running? I try to run Bobo. If I run too much though, I'll say this, I get shin splints. Bad shin splints. They're really, really debilitating. So I run as much as I can while still addressing these shin splints. And not allowing them to completely take over. Arabian Nights, like Arabian days. If all of his cut would fall and fall hard. All of his guard would fall and fall hard. There we go. Beautiful. Knock out. Hey, Zeke. Well, I don't quite understand what you mean by that, Zeke, but I actually love my 30s. I prefer my 30s way more than my 20s. 20s were fun, but I was confused. I was insecure. I was working a lot, didn't know who I was. So in my 30s, I'm comfortable in my own skin. I feel more me. I feel more free. I feel more of a weight off my shoulders. So I like 30s. And I like people who also feel that way. If I was doing, if I was trying to make friends and doing it via a few questions, anyone who prefers their 30s over their 20s will probably get along. We might be similar-minded. And I hope too, secretly, that I enjoy my 40s more than my 30s. And I continue on that trajectory. That would be a beautiful thing. I can't guarantee that, but with a bit of hope, I'm hoping. A fool of his God would fall and fall hard on Arabian ways. Ooh. Ooh, no. Incorrect. Bad brushstroke. Ashta, yeah. I don't feel like it needs to be that way though. I feel like I got hung up on thinking I needed to be someone other than myself and charged off on journeys that actually may have been good for someone else, but they weren't my journeys. They were a story that wasn't mine. And I feel like the only way to actually deal with that is to get some life experience under your belt. And after you have that, you learn how to enjoy yourself and actually not get hung up on the little things. And I don't know. It's a hard journey to actually explain. It's hard, but I think if at any point in your life you're able to be yourself, figure out who you are, and enjoy that, whew, mosquito bite, then that's a wonderful place to be. You know, Ian McKellen, McKinnon. McKinnon, not quite sure which one it is. He didn't get famous in Lord of the Rings or in anything until he was almost in his 70s. Did the fame matter? Nah, probably not. But did he find himself prior to that? Who knows? Most importantly, it doesn't always happen in your 20s, your 30s. Most importantly, the only question we ask, are you still hopeful? Are you still looking? Do you believe that you deserve to find it? And I don't know, do you have a mild concept of what it might look like? These are powerful things. Full of his kind would fall in full hard on Arabian ways. Arabian nights, like Arabia. I think we're going to need to come back on this one with a bit of black, which is okay, but we're not going to do that tonight. It's just me acknowledging that actually that may be necessary. Beautiful girls all over the world I could be chasing, my time would be wasting. Intense green, hello. They've got nothing on you, baby. Nothing on you, baby. There's nothing on you, baby. And I might say hi, they might say hey. We wouldn't worry about what they say. They got nothing on you, baby. Nothing on you, baby. Whew, what am I holding? The picture. So, sorry guys. I got caught up in my own little world there. And Eva Derrison, welcome. I like the new name, very stylish. I'm doing fantastically, thanks for asking. Tina, 53, still immature, fantastic. In 20 years' time, that better say I'm 73, still immature. I was speaking to a nurse at the hospital when my baby was born, who was 74 years old, and she'd just bought a jet ski, and she was an absolute firecracker, a wondrous, beautiful soul. So, you're as young, you are kind of as young as you feel, and you're never too young to buy a jet ski. Right. And sorry, let's see the picture here. Coming down here. Right. There's our dog here. Let me put this picture up here. So the mouth's slowly coming in, and we're still working on the whites. So every other colour's slowly appearing. Bit more white to go. Bit more white to go. But we've had some fun. We've had some real fun. For the first time, all the background is now covered. It needs an injection of white and of black to actually build that definition into it. A few things will happen. The face will expand a little bit. The eyes will come into focus. The mouth will come out and create that depth. At the moment, I'll say this much. Look at the face. It sits back a little bit, like he's tucking his chin in. That's not the case. In the photo, Oreo's coming out towards you. And so when we start adding those whites in there, expect them to pull the whole face forward. So it won't feel like this, it'll feel like this. I hope that example helped. Anyway, Petrus Van Wyck, welcome on in. Petrus, you've just come in exactly when we're about to pause. So, there we have it. This fun little dog. Whites and blacks, and then some transparent greens. And that'll be 2 more layers, but we may get hung up on a few other ideas before then. We'll see. At the moment though, really fun space to be in. Really, really fun. Anyway guys, I'm off to make dinner, but wherever you are in the world, I hope you have a great day or a great night. If you're logging off from this, please, all of you, don't go doom scrolling, get a good night's sleep. And sending love from here in New Zealand to wherever you are in the world. Cheers, guys. Asta, live again. Look, I've got a newborn baby. It'll be intermittent, definitely tomorrow, but I can't give you a time. And I know that's a pain. I'm so sorry, but probably in the next few weeks we can start getting a better schedule together. But anyway, guys, look after yourselves. Catch you later. Bye now.